ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to News Talk with yours truly, Chris Ayuk, coming to you as usual from the great state of Texas, Houston, Texas to be precise. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight, I take you to a very special subject that draws the attention of every Southern Cameroonian. Call yourself Ambazonian, Southern Cameroonian, Anglophone, whatever label that you choose to be called. The subject of the All Anglophone Conference 3, AAC III. That will constitute the subject of the conversation tonight. I will be joined by proponents of this idea and the conveners, and also those who feel like, we've gone past the AAC. That will be the main talking point tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So please stay tuned in less than a minute. I will be back.
The workplace is changing faster than ever before.
Whether you work in healthcare, education, law, content creation, insurance, real estate, human resources, accounting, or nursing, AI is becoming part of your everyday job.
The question isn't whether AI is coming. It's whether you'll be ready. At Certified AI Academy, we teach practical AI skills through live, interactive classes led by experienced instructors. Learn the tools employers are already using today. Invest in yourself. Learn AI now, or someone who already has learned will be used to replace you. Certified AI Academy is now enrolling for our July session. Seating is limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Call or text 346-271-0711 today and secure your future. Grab your opportunity now. The workplace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once more, good evening and welcome to the broadcast. Again, I will be discussing a subject that is very important in the minds of Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, Anglophones, those who come from the territory that we call Ambazonia today. But before I take you into that discussion, I brought you a story that broke in Manu, Akwaya to be precise, last Monday, where we learn of over 20 civilians killed in the hands of invading Cameroon army. Now you have not seen any image anywhere because the images do not exist, and the images do not exist because the Cameroon army made sure they shut down communication, internet in particular, in all of Akwaya, and we've only gotten this news by means of people having to travel kilometers to receive network, to make phone calls and relate what is going on there. I am being joined on the phone by somebody whose own in-law was killed in that rampage last Monday again in Akwaya, and he is joining me from Mamfe. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
I am great, Secretary Chris. I am great.
Okay. You tell me about what transpired in Akwaya last Monday. Am I correct?
No, it was not. It should be about 11 to 12 days now. We only got the information later. So due to our investigations, we knew it should be 10 to 11 days before now.
10 to 11 days today, and you still have not received any images from Akwaya today. That means still no internet in Akwaya?
Yeah, actually, Akwaya is an enclave area, an enclave zone, because of the underdevelopment that we experience all over Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. So Akwaya is not an exception, and I can tell you even before the story is that most people in Akwaya believe that they are Nigerians because they trade in Naira, they carry their commodities to Nigeria, the network route from Nigeria to Akwaya is better off than any other, because from Akwaya to Cameroon, any part of Cameroon, you only have the widened footpaths. So Akwaya people prefer to be called Nigerians because their pidgin language is like those of the Nigerians. So literally these people see themselves as Nigerians because there is no development from the Cameroonian government to them.
So tell me about this event of 11 days ago. What exactly happened in Akwaya?
Okay, so I've gathered information through people who are bereaved, like myself, my wife's grandfather was also among the victims. So what actually happened is that there is one restoration fighter commonly known there as John. We don't know his real names. Okay. So it seems as Mr. John has constructed a building and he invited some people to come and celebrate with him. So the precise village is called Asaka village.
Asaka village.
One of the villages, yes, Asaka.
Asaka, okay.
AAC, yes. So it is a village found in Akwaya subdivision. We must know that in Manu division, Akwaya subdivision has more than 100 and something villages.
Okay.
Yes, it is a division with the highest number of villages in the entire Cameroon.
Okay, so John was celebrating his building.
Yes. So information must have gotten to the military, who crept there using night vision equipment, because these people have night vision equipment supplied to them by the Israeli and American government to fight Boko Haram. But these equipments are still used all over in Ambazonia. They can trek for kilometers in the dark with no torchlight, nothing, and you will not see them. But they know exactly where they are going because they are equipped. So, to go to the story, before they reach the house, information has already reached John. We don't know who his informants were. So he has sneaked himself behind the door and ran away. So when the military reached there, they did not see him. And people started running out the way because it was about 10 p.m. in the night. People started running from different directions and the military started shooting. After shooting some people who were running, they set the house ablaze. And Mr. John,
so what you are saying here is that they actually arrived, the Cameroon army arrived the compound with people still there in celebratory mode.
Yes.
Okay.
People were celebrating. Yes, but because whenever people see the military, there is this panic and fear. They started running.
Okay.
So they did not know, they never investigated. They should have known that in a celebration occasion like that, there should be civilians. That is not something they can say they did not know because there were a lot of people. But
all right. So what happened when they arrived?
Yes. When they arrived, some people saw them, and because before they entered the village, somebody must have seen them somewhere and given the information that led to John to escape. So a lot of people started leaving the environment. Then, as people were running, whosoever they saw running, they shoot everybody that they saw. Then they entered the house now. Mr. John's family, his wife and 6 children were burnt in that house. Everybody who could not escape was burned in that house.
John, his wife, and children were burnt in the house.
No, John had left. We don't know who informed him. He was a celebrant.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Yes, and he's a restoration fighter, and they must have come for him.
Yes.
We cannot think, but if I want to be a psychologist, I will say they must have come to for him, thinking that he will be there with his other colleagues.
So who did you say was burnt in the house?
John's wife and children who ran, and any other person who was still in the house. They didn't ask anybody to go out, or they didn't count to know who was inside. They set fire on that building, and the building burnt down.
All right. So tell me, it has been 11 days, as you just said today, and what is the death count in Akwaya that you have learned of?
Okay, so yesterday somebody contacted us. The person who contacted us wanted to give us information concerning our in-law, my wife's grandfather who was killed. So he has that he's not having an Android phone. So the information I got, he told me about, they are counting those whom they have seen, but those who must have run into the bushes and died there, nobody knows. So, but he said they have seen 16 corpses around the vicinity.
They have seen 16 corpses around the vicinity, and they still cannot tell how many people who ran into the bushes died.
Yes. Yes, because those who were there were not only people from that particular village. People who were visiting must be there. They were also there because it was a celebration. It was a mood of celebration. So somebody might be shot while he's running to his own neighboring village, and he might still die on the way. So what people are doing now is they are trying to know who was in that village, who was not their subject, who was not a villager in that village. They are trying to ask people to connect to whosoever must have gone to that village or the vicinity. So people are still trying to count to know exactly who was there and who was not there.
Interesting. Is the military still in Akwaya?
Yeah. Akwaya is the main town, and the military is the headquarters is in Akwaya, but they have a sub-brigade in a village called Berlin. So from that Berlin, they must have walked through the night to attack this village called Asaka. So after the operation, they left. So people don't know if they left back to Berlin or they went to Akwaya, but they cannot leave Akwaya by night to reach Asaka village. Meaning they must have stopped near Berlin. That is what people are guessing. Because from Akwaya, you enter Berlin before you enter into Asaka. So if their headquarters is in Akwaya, therefore they must have left Akwaya with their vehicle, stopped somewhere around Berlin, then travel. So what happened is that the Cameroonian military have a style of punishing civilians who harbor Ambazonia restoration forces. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. When they come to your community and they know that you are keeping restoration, you are not the one keeping them because they feel that they are at home. It is not that you are keeping somebody who is already in that place. We don't keep them. So, but when they come, they will pretend as if we are the ones keeping those people, not knowing that these people are people living in our community. We see them as part of us. So when the restoration of fighters, since they are guerrilla fighters, when they hit and they run, when the military come, they shoot innocent people. So that in so doing, there will be confusion now between the people and the restoration fighters. Some people will start to blame that if they were not here, the military wouldn't have come. So that is exactly what the military is doing. They punish civilians for what they have not done, as if we were to capture these people and hand them to them. So that is exactly what they were doing by shooting those people when they knew that their target has fled. So
All
that
right.
will cause panic. So that even, yes.
All right, listen, I want you to continue to monitor the situation there and try to get some images or videos that you can forward to us. So I assume that as of now, people in AACIII still do not have internet. Do they have electricity?
The electricity there, mostly people are using their solar systems.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there is also one development. Hello?
Yeah, there's a one development. Yes, go on.
Yeah, the person who just called me yesterday told me that most of the corpses are still lying there. You know, people are just afraid because of what they must have witnessed in a neighboring village, that they are sure that bombs have been planted into those people who are killed, so that whosoever will go and carry a corpse to go and bury will die with the corpse. So when I call, that is what the person told me, that the corpses are still there. So what they are planning to do is that they will take a rope, tie on the corpse, pull it. If there is no explosive, before they will gather that, they will take that corpse and go and bury. So you can really see the suffering, how much the people, you just kill people and abandon them. And people
essentially, people are afraid to touch the corpse because they are afraid that explosives are planted on them.
Yes, that they have once witnessed it like that, so they are afraid to go beside. Yes.
All right.
To touch.
All right. Thank you very much, Tabe, and please try to get some images. Let the people who are there try to get some images, and you forward to us, and we will stay on the story.
Okay, I will try my best. I will just try, but okay. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, that was Tabe Kingsley joining me from Manfe with that AACIII news story. According to him, actually 16 people have been counted dead, killed by the Cameroon army in AACIII since 11 days ago. Nobody is touching the corpse because they are afraid explosives were planted on them for people who coming trying to retrieve the corpse. Again, there is no internet in AACIII to get images across to us here, but we are hoping that in the days ahead, somebody will try to forward those messages to us. That is what the Cameroon army has been doing in Ambazonia for the past 10 years. And the case of AACIII is horrible because nobody is seeing the images. If we didn't get people who can inform us like this, but without images, it really doesn't make the story as strong as it should be, as potent as it should be. But that is Cameroon, the Cameroon regime for you. I will be out in a few seconds. When I come back, I take you to the real subject of the day, the story of AAC III. Or the All Anglophone Conference 3. Don't touch your remote. I'm coming back to that story right away.
The workplace is changing faster than ever before.
Whether you work in healthcare, education, law, content creation, insurance, real estate, human resources, accounting, or nursing, AI is becoming part of your everyday job.
The question isn't whether AI is coming. It's whether you'll be ready. At Certified AI Academy, we teach practical AI skills through live, interactive classes led by experienced instructors. Learn the tools employers are already using today. Invest in yourself. Learn AI now, or someone who already has learned will be used to replace you. Certified AI Academy is now enrolling for our July session. Seating is limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Call or text 346-271-0711 today and secure your future. Grab your opportunity now. The workplace is changing faster than ever before.
Whether you work in healthcare, education, law, content creation, insurance, real estate, human resources, accounting, or nursing, AI is becoming part of your everyday job.
The question isn't whether AI is coming. It's whether you'll be ready. At Certified AI Academy, we teach practical AI skills through live, interactive classes led by experienced instructors. Learn the tools employers are already using today. Invest in yourself. Learn AI now, or someone who already has learned will be used to replace you. Certified AI Academy is now enrolling for our July session. Seating is limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Call or text 346-271-0711 today and secure your future. Grab your opportunity now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put out there. About a week or a little over a week ago, a group of Southern Cameroonians, they call themselves Anglophones too, they came together in a Zoom gathering calling for an AAC III, All Anglophone Conference number 3. Now, you will recall that the AAC I took place in 1993 in Biya. AAC II took place the following year, 1994, in Bamenda. And how many years today? Would be about 33 years today. 33 years today. A group of Southern Cameroonians won a continuation of that conference. And so they call it today the AAC III. The question that many are asking out there, ladies and gentlemen, is whether we've moved past the AACs. What is the timing? Is it a time to move forward or to look backward? And ladies and gentlemen, that is the subject that, that is a question that I intend to answer in this monologue before I bring in my panel for tonight. And so at this moment, I'd like to bring you my talking point on this subject of the AAC. So please stay tuned. There are moments in the life of a people when history draws a clear line. And once that line is crossed, there is no honest way of pretending that the line didn't exist. The Southern Cameroons crossed such a line on October 1, 2017. Whether one supports the Declaration of Independence or opposes it, whether one identifies as an independentist, a federalist, or a unionist, no serious observer can deny that 2017 fundamentally altered the political trajectory of the Southern Cameroons. It marked the culmination of a political process that had begun decades earlier. That is precisely why the recent calls for an all-Anglophone conference, AAC III, are not simply confusing. They are politically contradictory. The first question every Southern Cameroonian should ask is simple. What exactly is AAC III seeking to continue, not the word continue? Its organizers, who met in a recent Zoom meeting, deliberately invoked the history and legacy of the all Anglophone conferences of 1993 and 94, hoping to wrap themselves in the legitimacy of those historic gatherings. But history has a stubborn way of refusing to be rewritten. The first conference in Biya sought the restoration of the two-state federation that existed at independence in 1961. The second conference in Bamenda became significantly more decisive. Delegates concluded that time was running out for dialogue. They produced what became known as the Bamenda Proclamation, and the accompanying white paper warning the regime in Yaoundé that if the federal arrangement of 1961 wasn't restored, that the Southern Cameroons would have no choice but to restore its own independence. That was not a casual declaration. It was a solemn political commitment made before the people. Yaoundé ignored it entirely, completely for the 33 years. For 23 years, Yaoundé treated that ultimatum, the Bamenda Proclamation, with contempt. Nothing resembling the restoration of the Federation ever materialized. Instead, came increasing centralization, political exclusion, marginalization, and eventually outright repression. When the lawyers and teachers took to the streets in 2016, they were not launching an entirely new struggle. They were reopening a chapter that had never been resolved. As the crisis deepened and the government's response became increasingly militarized, Southern Cameroonians concluded that the conditions set out in Bamenda had finally been fulfilled. Cameroon, they thought, had rejected federalism. The logical consequence, according to the very roadmap adopted in 1994 in Bamenda, was the restoration of independence for the Southern Cameroons. That, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what happened in 2017. That is 23 years after AAC II. Millions of Southern Cameroonians rallied behind the Declaration of Independence. Sisiku, Julius Ayuk Tabe, became its most recognizable face. Ambazonia became the chosen name of the new state. Whatever one's political opinion of that declaration, one fact remains impossible to dispute. The final step envisioned by AAC II was finally taken. The political sequence that began in Biya and matured in Bamenda reached its conclusion in 2017. History moved forward, which brings me back to today's AAC III proposal. If AAC II culminated in the Declaration of Independence in 2017, what exactly is AAC III building upon? That's the question. No one seems prepared to answer this question yet. Instead, the public is asked to believe that this is merely another conference in the same historical tradition as AAC I and II. But that simply cannot be true. One cannot logically continue a political process whose stated objective has already been implemented. Unless, of course, the intention is to quietly reverse that objective without openly admitting it. That is why many Southern Cameroonians today view AAC III with deep suspicion. What makes the matter even more troubling is the identity of some of those championing the idea of AAC III. Many of them were among the loudest voices supporting the declaration of Ambazonia in 2017. They celebrated Sisiku, Julius Tabe, as a symbol of the restored nation. Many defended the very independence that emerged from the Bamenda ultimatum. Today, those same individuals return under the banner of an all-Anglophone conference, as if to say the Declaration of Independence in 2017 never happened. That is a problem. Why? Has Ambazonia been abandoned? Has the declaration of October 1, 2017 been withdrawn? Has the Bamenda Proclamation been repealed? Or are Southern Cameroonians simply expected to erase an entire chapter of their history because political circumstances have changed? These are not uncomfortable questions, ladies and gentlemen. They are necessary ones. There is absolutely nothing, zero, nothing wrong if federalists are organizing themselves. In every democracy, political tendencies have the right to meet, to debate, organize, and campaign for their preferred constitutional arrangements. If those who believe the future lies in a federal Cameroon wish to convene a conference to redefine their proposals, they are perfectly entitled to do so. Likewise, if supporters of one Cameroon wish to meet and develop their strategy for engaging a post-Biya government, that is their democratic right also. The problem, however, arises when such a gathering is marketed as though it will represent all Southern Cameroonians. No, it doesn't. It will not represent all. The very title, All Anglophone Conference, immediately excludes a significant segment of the population. It carries the language, the assumptions, and political aspirations of the early 1990s. It belongs to a period when the dominant objective was constitutional reform within Cameroon. The Southern Cameroons had since traveled through a decade of armed conflict, unimaginable suffering, massive displacement, and a declaration of independence that fundamentally altered the political vocabulary of the Ambazonian struggle. Today, millions no longer primarily define themselves simply as Anglophones. They identify as Southern Cameroonians or Ambazonians. That evolution cannot simply be wished away by resurrecting an old conference label, or Anglophone Conference. Names matter in politics. They communicate intent. So, reviving the AAC brand inevitably sends the message that Southern Cameroonians are preparing to retrace their steps. It suggests that the Declaration of Independence is no longer the defining political reference point. It creates the unmistakable impression that the struggle is quietly being retracted or being redirected back towards negotiating Southern Cameroons into La République du Cameroon under a new constitutional arrangement, which is absolutely not the case. Whether the organizers of AAC III admit it or not, perception matters. Ironically, I have an easy solution here, ladies and gentlemen. Consider this. If the genuine objective of AAC III is to assemble every political tendency within the Southern Cameroons, then why not simply call it the All Southern Cameroons Conference, ASCC, All Southern Cameroons Conference? That single change would transform the entire conversation. A Southern Cameroonian who believes in federalism remains a Southern Cameroonian after all. A Southern Cameroonian who supports one Cameroon remains a Southern Cameroonian too. A Southern Cameroonian who believes in full independence remains equally Southern Cameroonian. The identity All Southern Cameroons Conference unites everyone, regardless of political persuasion. An All Southern Cameroons Conference would therefore be truly inclusive because it asks no participant to surrender his or her political convictions before entering the room. It simply acknowledges a shared homeland while allowing competing constitutional visions to coexist under one roof. AAC does precisely the opposite, and it is a step backward, not forward. AAC resurrects an obsolete political framework whose historical mission has already run its course. It attempts to continue a journey whose destination was reached 9 years ago in 2017. In doing so, AAC risks becoming not a conference about the future, but an exercise in political nostalgia, one that many will understandably interpret as an attempt to quietly walk Southern Cameroonians back into the very constitutional arrangement they rejected over the years, decades ago, after failed negotiations with La République du Cameroon. AAC III organizers may insist otherwise, but political symbolism cannot be ignored. If independentists are told, directly or indirectly, that they have no place within AAC III, then honesty demands acknowledging what the conference really is. It is not an all-embracing gathering of Southern Cameroonians. It is a meeting of those who seek to redefine Southern Cameroon's future within the framework of La République du Cameroon. That is what it will be looked at. There is nothing illegitimate, though, about that position. What is illegitimate is presenting it as though it speaks for everyone. History deserves greater honesty than that. The Bamenda Conference, Bamenda AAC II, left Southern Cameroonians with a promise. That promise eventually became the Declaration of Ambazonia in 2017. Whether history ultimately vindicates or rejects that declaration is a debate for another day. But no one has the right to pretend that the declaration never happened simply because it may have become politically inconvenient. If Southern Cameroonians are to gather again in conference, let them do so honestly. Let them begin from where history actually stands, not from where some wish history had stopped. Because nations do not move forward by pretending yesterday never existed or never happened. They move forward by confronting today's realities with courage, with clarity, and intellectual honesty. And today, the reality is that anything built around the absolute banner of AAC is not a continuation of history. It is an invitation to reverse history. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my talking point today. And at this moment, I want to bring in my guest for tonight to do justice on this subject. I hope to be joined by Marilyn Indua. Marilyn Indua, if you are hearing me, please go ahead and reconnect. I can see Prof. Gabila. I don't know whether he is frozen. If you can hear me, please go ahead and reconnect. Marilyn, go ahead and reconnect. Prof. Gabila, go ahead and reconnect, please. Go ahead and reconnect, please. I cannot see you guys on screen, and I'm starting with you guys. I need you to reconnect. Please go ahead and do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I will take a brief break to have these guys connect so that we can delve into the conversation tonight. So please stay tuned. I will be right back.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
Our next session begins July 24th. Seating is limited.
To enroll, text AI to 346-271-0711 or visit CertifiedAIAcademy.com.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
Our next session begins July 24th. Seating is limited.
To enroll, text AI to 346-271-0711 or visit CertifiedAIAcademy.com.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put out there. At this moment, I will bring you my panel for tonight, and sorry for the delays for technical issues trying to get them connected. But you listen to my talking point there on the subject of AAC III. Is this something that we really want today? Have we moved past AAC? Should we be talking about an all Southern Cameroons conference or all Anglophone conference? It is the subject that I would love my guests here to discuss. Again, I am being joined from South Africa. If Prof. Gabriela, can you hear me? I think he is frozen. I think he is frozen. I think Gabila is not connected, and Marilyn. Okay, I can see Marilyn. Please, Marilyn, do not give your link to Prof. Gabila, because it seems that both of you are sharing links. He has a separate link sent to him directly from here. Don't share your link with him. He has a link sent to him. All right, let me bring you live here. Good to see you, Marilyn. Oh, you see, that is a problem. Prof. Gabila, check your WhatsApp. You have a separate link for you. You are using Marilyn's link. That is why you are in and out with her. So, log out of that link and check your WhatsApp. A new link was sent to you. You use that one to log in. This one is for Marilyn. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So log out of that one, of this one where you are, and use the one just sent to you on WhatsApp, so that we can have Marilyn back here. Okay, Marilyn, log back in, please. Log back in using this same link. All right. I was wondering what was going on. I see you guys sharing the same link. Normally, each guest has a link dedicated to him or her. But it's a great pleasure to have you on the News Talk for the first time. I don't know whether you listened to the entirety of my talking point on the subject of the AAC. Tell me if I am wrong, and for the purpose of knowledge, it is good to let the public know that you are one of the organizers and conveners of AAC III. If I'm wrong, correct me, please.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's such a pleasure to be on your show. I want to say hi to all your viewers. I did listen to all of your introduction about the All Anglophone Conference. I would like to start by, I listened to your first guest. Chris, you know I'm from Manu.
Oh,
I'm from Manu. So,
okay.
Yes. So when I heard what happened in Akwaya, I immediately called people in Akwaya because I'm from that region. Yeah. And I happened to speak to somebody from that family. I spoke to somebody from that little Small John's family, because that's how he's called, Small John, to find out what actually happened, you know, because I like to make sure that when I come in mass communication, I take a responsibility to speak the truth to people. So I actually spoke to somebody who was actually the family member that actually named Small John. So I hear that Small John is an Amba general.
Right.
That has been operating in the Akwaya region. He's actually from Batanga. You know, like you said rightly, Akwaya has 99 villages. You know, you have Asaka, but Small John is from Batanga. And actually, what I hear is that the people of Akwaya were looking for Small John because Small John has gone to Nigeria and recruited Nigerians to come to Akwaya and has been moving around Akwaya, terrorizing the population, kidnapping people and doing all kinds of things. So the people of Akwaya reported Small John to the military, and they themselves were looking for Small John. They told me that if they had met Small John themselves, you know, they would have taken care of him because he's been terrorizing the entire Akwaya. He has been threatening his whole family. He said he was covered by Odeshi, and the Akwaya people themselves were looking for him. And so when the military was also looking for him, and then when Small John came, they go and mix with the population. And I understand that Small John himself said that the villagers had reported him to the military, so he himself killed a couple of the villagers. I'm happy that you finally said 16 people have been confirmed dead from the initial 20 that you put on your screen. So I understand that Small John himself, before he was killed, he went, you know, to kill some people because he said they had betrayed him before the military came. And then unfortunately, because the Amba people, they mixed with the civilians in order to protect themselves, they used the civilians like shields. And that's how come other people were killed other than those that they were looking for. So the military could not tell who was part of Small John's recruits and who was again, that doesn't excuse anything. But I just wanted to make sure that I did my own research and spoke to the family members and spoke to people in Akwaya to find out what actually happened. So I wanted to corroborate that. Okay.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for doing so. Not much a difference. At least by the end of the day, we'll end up knowing who did what.
Yes. Okay, now back to the All Anglophone Conference. Again,
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for shedding this. You do know, Chris, that we as Anglophones, okay, unfortunately, let me be politically correct. And Chris, I know that you are a community leader and I know that you're a Christian. So I heard you talk about truth. You and me share that fundamental principle of truth. So you know that our true appellation is former British Cameroons, because there's no country called Southern Cameroons. And nobody will accept with you that there's a Southern Cameroons. The honest, truthful appellation of our people is former British Southern Cameroons. That's who we are. And we inherited a culture, and we inherited a political culture where we come together as a people to talk about our problems, our issues, and come up with a plan. And you mentioned rightfully AACC I and AAC II. And so we continue with the tradition of our forefathers calling for AAC III. We have not yet agreed on that name. We needed to put something out there. Discussions coming on. But this conference of the meeting of the people of former British Southern Cameroons is going to be all inclusive. Everybody from that region. You know, we're dealing with the extreme left and the extreme right. So you talked about, we have the separatists who are the extreme left. And then we have the people who are currently in the government. People who want to be, who want the status quo extreme. But as a people, we have to bring everybody together. So me as Mami and the convener, I'm not a convener, I'm not an official convener, I'm just a foot soldier working to bring everybody together. We have to work with everybody. And that's why I'm on your show. That's why for the first time I'm on your show, because truth be told, all we are picking them from the same papa. All we, despite the different various ideologies, the various political leanings, we are all children from the same mother. So we should be able to come together and sit at the table and talk about our problems. And so hopefully all Anglophones, for want of a better word, are going to buy into this concept, because when we come together to talk about our problems, it's a win for us. So unfortunately, we know that there are always naysayers. Unfortunately, we have the disciples of division who are always, preaching division among our people. And we know why they are doing this. You have those who are benefiting from the situation. But trust me, Chris, this time around, we are going to isolate those disciples of division. Because no matter your political leaning, you cannot be against brothers and sisters coming together to talk. No family, no, they will not get problem. But when we should done as a family, say, we'll talk our problem, we'll come up with plan. That is the only way to succeed. We cannot be a people that blow. When the wind blow here, we'll blow here. Wind blow there, we'll blow here. Wind blow there. No, we have to come together as responsible people. And all Anglophone leaders should be supporting this coming together to sit and discuss our issues. So this time around, Chris, any disciples of division among us will be isolated. And we are going to go with the coalition of the willing. Again, the name has not been agreed upon. Many ideas are being tossed. We are still discussing, and we call on your viewers and you yourself to propose solutions. We're looking for constructive criticism. People who are solutions oriented, not people who want to keep, beating the drums of problems. So we are the authors of our destiny. You talked about AACC I and AACC II and AACC III. Democracy is government for the people, by the people. And we are the authors of our destiny. We have the yam and the knife in the grand scheme of things. In this game of geopolitics, we stand at the forefront to determine, to be the authors of our destiny. And that's what we intend to do at this meeting that we are going to call, where we are all going to come and sit on the table and take an assessment. You talked about 1960, 1990, 90. Life is not static. Life moves. So when we come together, we are going to take an assessment of the past, and we're going to see the future, and we're going to determine what path we want to take. We are not bound by anything. This is now. This is our time. We are going to determine what path we want to take as a people. That's what democracy is. And I want to thank you for shedding light on this. And I hope that you, as a community leader, you're going to join us in this vision that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. I have differences with some of the issues you raised there, but let me go back to my narrative on the AAC I, AAC II, 1993 and 1994. In Bamenda, a proclamation was put out which was essentially an ultimatum given to La République du Cameroon, and is essentially stated, if you do not hurriedly come way into this crisis, we are going to walk away and form our own state. That was an ultimatum that was finally achieved October 1st, 2017, when Sisiku declared Ambazonia independence. And so when you gather for another AAC III, the question becomes, what are you taking us forward? Do you want to take us forward with all Anglophones, or taking us backward as Southern Cameroonians?
Thank you so much, Chris. I think that's a very important question. And I think that as community leaders, and the reason that way some of we mammy them, we don't decide say, "Mo come enter, Biki talk to," because as they talk, when you are not at the table, you'll be on the menu. When you're not at the table, you will be on the menu. And so we declared, so we followed through with AACIII, where the government did not meet the demands, the independence was declared. And as any great leader, we need to take stock of the state of the independence that was declared. Where are we? We need to be honest to our citizens. As leaders, we cannot continue to deceive people. We need to take stock. 8 years after that declaration of independence, where are we? Who are our partners in the international community? What territory are we governing? And what's the way forward? As leaders, we need to take stock. And we need to sit and listen to everybody. These are some of the things that will be discussed at that conference. This is some of the things that will be, we need to come, sit at the table and take stock to look for what's best for our people. We need to assess the declaration of independence that was done. Where are we? And we need, as leaders that people are looking up to, we need to face the truth. We need to face reality and look for a path forward that is beneficial to our people. I know you will not disagree with that, Chris.
No, I think I absolutely do disagree with that. Sitting down to do an analysis and appraisal of where we are after 2017. I don't think that is a problem. The problem is when you think doing that analysis should mean subtler, taking everybody back to the Anglophone era, the all Anglophone conference era, instead of all Southern Cameroonians, all Ambazonians, whatever you call it. Because listen, I think millions of Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, detest that appellation, Anglophone, because that is what La République du Cameroon has used to marginalize and enslave many of them. They prefer to be called Southern Cameroonians, or if you call it former British Southern Cameroon, that is still okay. But the appellation Anglophone is nauseating. Don't you think so?
No, I totally agree. And not because I'm an Ambazonian. I agree because I'm a Pan-African. As a Pan-African, I detest being called by a foreign appellation. I'm not a British anything. There's nothing British about me. I am from Guti and Manu. I'm Ejagam. I belong to the Ejagam nation, a very proud and nation. I do not want to be called British anything. However, we exist within a geopolitical landscape, and you know, so again, you have people, and so I want to let you know that in the meetings we have been having, that has come up. That has come up. People say they do not want to be called former. And Chris, you need to know that you're dealing with federalists, you're dealing with unionists, you're dealing with separatists. These are all our people, and we're trying to bring them on the same table. Now that has come
which
up,
is
where
which is why I said call it Southern Cameroon, because whether you are
right,
federalist, you are independentist, you are unionist, you are Southern Cameroonian.
But Southern Cameroon does not exist. That is the problem, because
it
one
exists.
of the problems,
that is the name by which we have been known from 1954.
Chris, the problem that Ambazonia or Southern Cameroon has been facing is that we have looked really ridiculous to the international committee. We are being kind of ridiculed because
what was the territory called in 1954 when they left Nigeria?
When they left Nigeria, they were it was a British colony. It was former
British Southern Cameroons.
Correct.
When the British left, it was called the Southern Cameroons.
Well, that is up for debate, and I don't want to take our beautiful time by arguing on a name when we have very important things like job creation
but
for the youth.
You have to have little things right, though, to be able to lay a strong foundation.
No, Chris, I agree. That's why Gabila, before you come, Gabila, go ahead.
Gabila, if you want to come in, please.
Hi, Comrade Chris. Thank you so much again for having me and for that debate that you guys are currently having. Like Marilyn has said, this question has been extensively ventilated in the working committees that we are having on this on the question. And here is the fact that we need to grapple with. There are some people who find the name Anglophone alienating. There are some people who find the appellation of such a conference as a Southern Cameroons conference alienating. We are grappling with people who have to make a determination as to whether such a conference would make sense if it's organized at home or overseas, you know. So in the very preliminary set of our conversations, which we are still engaging on, we settled it would be useful not to start this debate by settling for a name that's going to be alienating. So we are gradually moving towards the identification of a name that's going to carry a neutral connotation, that is going to be able to bring a common umbrella where everybody finds themselves.
And what do you have in mind, Prof? What do you have in mind?
Well, I'm not sure if it will be worth ventilating at this point. We have explored a number of options. We've for example, thought about calling it and the Endele Foncha consultation, for example, something that says it's a broad-based umbrella where everybody's going to feel a part of. There was a very strong case made about the question of calling it a Southern Cameroons conference. Marilyn, myself, and a number of us who were involved in the process, we have no problem with the name, you know, because we are former British Southern Cameroonians and it's okay. But we do not want to embark upon this process starting at the entrance of the process fighting over the name, because there's much more on the agenda. There are much more issues of substance that we need to engage in. And if we have, I mean, at some point, it got so interesting that Marilyn said, you know what, guys, we're going to give this thing a GPS coordinate that speaks about the territory so that we can go past that debate, because that is not the debate. That's not the meat. That's not the substance of our engagement. And then take the question of identity. Who do we want to call ourselves? How do we want to be identified as one of the agenda items of our consultation, so that it can be ventilated as part of our consultation, get a grassroots-based process, a broad-based consultation purpose to get us to agree to call ourselves whatever we want to call ourselves. Let it be adopted as a resolution of our engagement, and then moving forward, there's unanimity about that. Before we get such a process to be able to settle that question, we would be splitting hair about what is supposed to be a very important issue, and we'll never get to these issues of the substance. So the concern is recognized, it's acknowledged, it's very pertinent, nobody's trying to dismiss it, but we're just saying that we want to come together. The people that need to come together, it's very clear who they are. And we want to be able to take the question of our identity to conference, to ventilate it, to get Chris Annie's view, to get John Alco's view, to get Peregrina's view, to get everybody's view, to say, okay, given the fact that this is our history, it's our uniqueness, and most of us are Pan-Africanists because it's in the very nature of revolutionaries to be anti-imperialist and anti-anything that links us to our colonial heritage. Nobody wants to go out there and claim a British heritage. Certainly not me sitting in this chair, because the British have a lot of questions to answer. So we are telling our people that let's go past that debate, not because it's not important, but because it's something that needs to be set aside for the time being for us to move on to the substantive issues, which is supposed to bring us together. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, and I'm saying through you to your audience, to say that the concern is acknowledged. Unfortunately, Chris, for where you and I are sitting, this is not something that we're going to agree on. Not because you, Chris, and Gabila don't agree, but you're going to put for every.
Hold on there. I absolutely do think we can agree, not on the substantive issues of a conference, but on the need for one. We agree on that. The content of it.
Right.
Those of you planning it know what you have in mind. I do not have, but I agree. A conference that discusses the future of the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, is necessary. I support it.
So we are on the same page on that, right?
Yeah.
And so we are trying through you to get your audience to understand that. Let us major on the things that we agree on, the need for a consultation, and let us not preface that consultation with the things that split and divide us, what we call ourselves. It's like starting the conference before the conference.
But then
and to say that we should not disagree on that is not to say it's not important.
Correct.
No, that's what I'm saying.
The question
it's a very important point you're making.
The question my audience would be asking is, what do you hope to achieve with an all Southern Cameroons or all Anglophones conference? What do you hope to achieve?
So that's the question that I will be answering now, Chris, which I really appreciate. So I wanted us to pack that issue to let our people understand that the concerns about the appellation is noted. We are ventilating that in our engagements, and we are trying to find ways around creating a soft landing for everybody so we don't get stuck on the name. That's on the one. On the second point, and to go back to your preface of this engagement, I want our people to understand, I would actually invite everybody to go back and read up comprehensively on AAC I and AAC II. Beyond the substance of what those meetings meant, it instituted amongst us a culture of consultation, which is a very powerful element of our Anglo-Saxon heritage, that every time we get to defining moments and turning points in our lives, we feel the need to meet and concert and consult and discuss the pressing issues of our time. Now, AAC II on the agenda had a variety of issues, celebrating the GCE board, establishing a proposal for a draft federal constitution for the constitutional reform that was being undertaken since 1992 at the time, and a number of governance-related issues that pertain to Anglophones. We have built this culture as a people periodically to come, take stock, evaluate, examine the issues of our times, and make decisions about the welfare and the well-being of our people. That is the spirit and the essence of AAC III. What we eventually call it is not as important as the need for us to meet. And so, to come back to your question of what is it that we intend to achieve, there are very pressing issues that we are dealing with at the moment. We have been in a conflictual situation for the last 10 years that has had consequences. So the primary issue is one of several issues we need to focus on. It's a question of dialogue and conflict resolution to bring the current conflict to an end. Secondly, we need to have conversations about restoration of the lost generation. You know, the generation of people who have been born for the last 10 years, who are under the age of 15, who have been affected in a variety of ways by the ongoing conflict. This is a reality that is a foundation of the society that we currently are dealing with, that we need to address and prepare for the future of these children. How do we overcome the consequences of a conflictual situation? How do we overcome or rebuild an educational system that has been largely battered, by the conflict that we have been in for the last 10 years, where our educational assets have been relocated to across the Mungu, where our best schools and their best teachers and their best culture of education has relocated. We need to have that conversation to see how do we reverse the tide. We need to have a conversation that says our region has been broken, has been destroyed, investment has moved out. How do we pull investment back into our region for some sort of an economic recovery program? We need to come to deal with questions of trauma, to deal with questions of the organization of the grassroots participation of our people in the welfare. The questions of insecurity, the preface you had about the situation that happened where we have our brothers going in to bring in talks from neighboring countries like Nigeria to come and terrorize our population. Those are security concerns of the current scenario that have nothing to do with our aspirations for our issues that we have with the Cameroon. So there are a range of issues.
This is the question. Yes, I get you. This is the question. Would you be having this discussion within the framework of a free Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, or a Southern Cameroons that still lives under La République du Cameroon?
Well, Gabila, just 1 minute.
Okay.
Gabila, let me come in. So, Chris, as I told you, as leaders, can you hear me? Yeah, as I told you, as leaders, we're going to come to the table with an open mind and to really discuss our future, facing the reality on the ground. We are not going to have any delusions or any falsehood, because as papa and mommy, then for family, when you want take family forward, you need to talk about the truth. So when we come on the table, we're going to look at ourselves and see what is on the ground. As Anglophones, the fight of our forefathers has always been autonomy, the right to self-determination, the right to take our destiny in our hands and govern ourselves the way we want to be governed. That has always been at the table. But we need to work with that, with reality, facing the real issue. So as leaders, we're going to come on the table and discuss our issues. However, I also want to tell you some of the things that are on the table. Where some of the things that are on the agenda are education. We want to make sure that we have education that we like for our children. Right now, we're not happy with the status quo of the educational system in our regions. We are going to talk about health, social welfare, governance, political organization, the judiciary, the constitutional reform, economy, especially for our young people. Chris, as you know, our community is made up of over 50% young people. We need to talk about job creation. We need to talk about safety, youth development, women affairs, all of that. That's going to be on the agenda. So as to whether we are going to call, we're having this meeting again, it's an all Anglophone meeting. And to be honest, the Anglophone make up, you have people from the CPDM, people from the SDF, you have unionists, you have federalists, you have separatists. Everybody is going to be at the table. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you.
I hear you about everybody being on the table, but the appellation, again, I stated, all Anglophones, essentially, subtly eliminates independentists who would have loved to come in and contribute. Are you keeping that appellation? And when you talk about all these things that need to be carried out, my question was, within which framework are you trying to do this? Within the framework of a free and independent Southern Cameroons or a federal Cameroon?
So as Gabila, before I let Gabila come in to answer that question, I'm going to say that that name will not be kept. We have agreed that we're going to throw out All Anglophone Conference 3. We chose All Anglophone Conference 3 initially because in our community, we don't have the history of continuity. There's a lot of division. We don't have, so if you look at the Western world, you're going to see an organization that started in 1876 is still organizing today, because for them, they always build on what their forefathers, on the foundation of their forefathers, they build, they fix it, and they keep moving. But for us, in our culture, Chris Anu comes and starts something, Somebody comes and says he doesn't like it, he throws it away. This other person comes and starts this thing, he throws it away. This other person, and that's why in the Ambazonia we have so many factions, because it's the spirit of division.
Marilyn, don't
before
you
I
realize
land,
that
Chris, that's why we said we are going to build on the successes, because AAC I and AAC II have successes. So initially we had agreed,
and AAC II essentially ended anything called AAC because number one, it was then all Anglophones. AAC II said, going forward, La République du Cameroon, you do not return to the federal system of 1961. We are done with you. And that proclamation from Bamenda, you will agree with me, is what happened in October 2017 when Sisiku grabbed the ball by the horns and said, we are no longer Anglophones, we are Ambazonians, we are Southern Cameroonian. So why go back thinking that you can keep building on AAC when logically it is done?
Chris.
Kabila, go ahead.
Chris. We have a duty to educate our audience and to be factually accurate in our assertions. We went from an all Anglophone conference to the establishment of the Anglophone General Council, to the Anglophone National Council, which Anglophone National Council of 65 made up of 25, and the 11th province. And the appellation Anglophone were contested and was switched to the Southern Cameroons National Council, SCNC, made up of 25 from the northwest, 25 from the southwest, and 10 from the 11, I think 5 from the 10 or 5 from the what they call the 11th province. And the resolution that you're making reference to says that if you do not meet these demands without any need for any further consultation, the committee of the SCNC of 65 will constitute itself into a constituent assembly, declare the independence of the Southern Cameroons, and pursue every means, use every means possible to preserve that. That is what the resolution says. You will go back and check factually that the SCNC and that committee of 65 dissolved after AAC II. So there is no constitutional continuity that links the declaration of the SCNC as foreseen in AAC II with the declaration that was undertaken by Sisiku in 2018. That is just factual accuracy. You and I can debate about that, but for the sake of our audience, I'm inviting them to go back and check the resolution, check the process that was put in place, and see if it ties up with what was declared by Sisiku. Let's park that. Now, in terms of the content and the substantive issues of what we are talking about, Meryl and I and everyone who's involved in this process is saying the following. As a people, we have developed a culture of consultation and engagement. It is something that for the sake of posterity and continuity, let us not entertain this habit of always destroying what everybody else before us has done so that we start again, because our children will come up and will not know how to have a reference for the fight. There have been lots of gains, you know. When you sit with people like Pa Azongwara, sit with Dr. Munzu, sit with all of those people who, even Professor Anyanguya and all of the people who have been fighting this for the last couple of years, it is a relay race, Comrade Chris. One generation takes the successes to a specific point, hand over the baton to the next generation, and they take and they continue the fight. Because change in its essence is a continuous process. You build upon the shoulders of those who have come before you. So you do not give yourself the assumption of superior capabilities. You know, Marina and I would have this conversation and saying that sometimes we even criticize our fathers for their efforts, but they have something to show for what they have accomplished. We have people that can fight and can say that we have the University of Boya. We have people who can fight and say that we have the GCE board. Generations before us have been embarked and engaged upon this fight, and they have something to show for. Now, Comrade Chris, between you, myself, and Marina sitting in here, when we look at our engagements of the last 10 years, we may struggle to point to one single thing of significance that says our generation has contributed to the ongoing fight. Hence, we are saying that, number one, we don't want to discard everything that has been done before because it will be extremely presumptuous on our part. We will be assuming that we know better than our parents. We are saying no. We have the advantage at the time being of having a number of them who were conveners of AAC I and AAC II. We are bringing them into this planning committee. You know, I was in the US a couple of days back. I sat with Dr. Munzu for 4 hours. Just listening to him take me through the exercises all the way back to 1962. It was an invaluable experience because in that short engagement or that series of about 3-4 hours, there were things that came to light, an understanding of the historical context that I, as the younger generation, did not fully appreciate because the things that we saw when we were growing up. So we need to build. We need to build on the previous generation.
I hear you, but this is the question. You were one of those who stood behind Sisiku, Ayuk, Tabe, and pushed the idea of a free and independent Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. Consider October 2017, for example. I mean, all these things that we came in from all over across the globe, including the USA fighting for Ambazonia, you guys birthed it in South Africa, and you were a strong party advocate for that. Are you not now trying to take us back? Are you not now trying to say, well, we don't need a free Ambazonia, a free Southern Cameroons again? I know you are going to say, oh, show us what we have achieved for 10 years. But you agree with me that independence, I have not seen a single country that won independence in 3 years, in 10 years, in 15 years. You know that. So are you now just suddenly waving the flag of surrender to say, let's go back to Cameroon?
Absolutely not. Hence, the consultation. I'm going to hand over. I'm going to let you come in, Marilyn. Absolutely not. Hence, the consultation acknowledges the importance of the presence of Ambazonians around the table. And Ambazonians are supposed to come and then give an account to our people of what the fight is about, where the fight is, where they intend to take the fight moving forward. That is the seat on the table. Merino has said if Ambazonians need, because Ambazonians need to acknowledge the fact that when they take over that country as they intend to, the people who do not yet believe them, they will not sweep them to the sea. They will not wish them, they will not disappear. So we are calling Ambazonians to come to the table and be accountable and be held accountable. If they have a vision that will take us to El Dorado and transform our region to be like California, by all means, put that in blueprints, show up at the conference, tell us what is your magic plan to get us that independence you want. But we are saying come to the table. Because Comrade Chris, let me hand over to Marilyn. Let me hand over to Marilyn.
Why not join hands?
The mistake you are making, you will be making, the mistake you'll be making is to assume that every other person that is around that table is of no significance if they're not Ambazonian. And that is presumptuously unacceptable.
All right.
So the people who are non-Ambazonians, are telling the Ambazonians, you are invited, the door is open, pack your bags, put your files together. We insist on written submissions, come with your ideas, and be held accountable. Your seat is waiting for you at the table.
Marilyn and Prof. Gabila, you hold on there for a second. I have joining me Prof. Ben Aki and Dennis Artem. And Prof. Ben Aki is one of the spirited federalists out there, but he seems to disagree with your idea of an AAC III. Let's hear from him. Ben, good to have you back, sir.
Thank you for the invitation, Chris, and thank you for the discussion that has gone on here. I think this discussion has gone on for about an hour, and if you relate it to the country Cameroon, now, you will not realize that this has any connection with what is happening in that country. There is a political crisis, there is an electoral suspense, there is a state exception in the constitutional interpretation of who is the president of that country. And that is very crucial to the question of former Southern Cameroons. You will not get it from here. And I can understand, I can relate to the discussion that people have difficulty with finding what the name of the meeting or what the name of that coming together should be. It just shows you, even in the Bible, the prophet Amos, he will say, can two people work together unless they agree? You have talked about the culture of discussion. This is not the beginning of the culture of discussion in former British Southern Cameroons. I have often related the example of the meeting in 1959 in Mamfe, where the people came together to come up just with a question for the plebiscite. The United Nations representative, they wanted this meeting to produce the question for the plebiscite. It was already clear in that even though these people are all former Southern Cameroons, they are operating on a political scheme. They have very clear direction. The person I follow, Nde Tumaza, he was clearly for reunification, not unification, reunification of former British Cameroon with a former French Cameroon.
Do you actually believe in the so-called reunification? Because I don't think there was anything like reunification.
Well, it's a spectrum in the politics of former Southern Cameroons. I say in 1961 there was reunification. People who follow Foncha, they say there was, and even Indele would say there was unification, right? So these are the spectrum. But I just wanted to show that PM Kalu in that meeting, well, he said, I don't want any association with Nigeria, don't want any association with Cameroon. I want a very clear statement, which many people from former Southern Cameroon would agree with. But then the position of Foncha was about joining former French Cameroon with some conditions and say maybe after that we will decide. And Indele was, let us continue the association with Nigeria. These were the positions. The question could not be framed properly, even though the final question that came out was closer to the question of Dr. Indele. So it came out, do you wish to obtain independence by joining former Republic of Cameroon or Nigeria? But what I'm saying is that I listened to your introduction. I know where you're coming from. We spent time in Boston in this workshop. It does not mean that Cameroonians have not been coming together. That's my point. Many of these people who are your panelists here, they were not part of that process. And I'm not sure if, I think Dr. Gabla, Professor Gabla participated in the summit that took place last year in South Africa. And Marilyn, she has a desire to solve the problem, but I don't even think that she has been associated with a federalist. I wonder whether she is with a unionist and therefore for a unitary state. Because if she were a federalist, she would be aware of the work that the CCFGA has been carrying out. And so I'm glad towards the end you introduced the question of where Professor Gabila is. I don't think that he knows exactly where he is on Monday and where he is on Sunday. There are days he sounds like he's still with the independentists. There are days he sounds like he's a federalist. There are days like he's giving some kind of a chance to the decentralized unitary state and things like that. Let me come back to my
Prof, I'd like you to address the question, what do you oppose about an AAC III?
It's a distraction.
Explain.
At this particular time. It's a distraction. Because if you are for independence, then you're working probably with something like the framework we came up in Boston, the Boston Principle. One of the things we emphasized in this Boston Principle was that we want to make sure the person we are speaking with is legitimate. We wanted to make sure that there was peaceful transfer of power so that any negotiation you have today can continue tomorrow, even with a new government. We put these stipulations into the Boston Principle. And I think probably these are the principles that allow the government in Yaoundé not to agree to use that as a template to engage with the people of former Southern Cameroons. So I say it's a distraction in that context. And then I come back to say that this is the way, even in Boston we discussed, this is the way we envision the resolution of this conflict. A legitimate president of Cameroon is going to come to the table and invite those people of former Southern Cameroons who say we are no longer people of former Southern Cameroons. We have guns. We are no longer people of Cameroon. We have guns. We have declared our independence, and it's over. We only want to sit down and discuss the terms of our separation.
All right. You hold your point there, Prof. Let's get to Dennis. Dennis, I think of everyone on the panel here, we agree more. We think AAC is a foregone conclusion. It was over in 1993, and we are looking at a whole different political setup in 2026. And you have put out your opposition to anything AAC. Tell us, articulate what you think is wrong with AAC and what you think should be happening in the place of AAC III.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. Let me congratulate you for your monologue because it was really excellent. Unfortunately, our brother and sister have not addressed the issues that you raised in your paper. So really it is a little bit interesting to me to see that we are here debating. To tell you the truth, Comrade Chris, this is a complete distraction. I would not really engage in this debate because it would just be to waste my time. If anybody is to call a conference today, it will be a conference to prosecute the war that has been declared on us and to enforce the resolutions of AAC I and II, not to go to AAC III, ignoring the resolutions that were the proclamation that was taken in Bamenda. I think this is quite clear. All the subtleties, the confusion, we're talking about education now, we are dialoguing, all of this. No, these are distractions, Comrade Chris. I'm not interested in that at all. I am not interested in that. This is simply I don't want to get involved in these subtleties. I am interested in serious issues that moves the people of the Southern Cameroon, that moves Ambazonia forward. If you are organizing a conference today that is not addressing the war that has been declared on us, that is not addressing the issues that we're putting on the table for the enemy to address, that is really helping the enemy to continue ignoring us. No, I don't think I would like to participate in this debate at all, completely.
Marilyn.
We took a position in Bamenda. We took a position in Bamenda.
Finish your thought, Dennis.
We have not moved an inch.
Chris, I'm here.
Yes, Marilyn, I think Dennis raises a very critical point there. Anyone would think that why a war is going on, any conference coming up, should be addressing the conflict, the war directly, and not about schools or this or peace. What do you think of that?
So, Chris, you see me, I be Mami. I belong to Cameroon Women for Peace. And just to let Ben Aki know, I'm a federalist. I've been involved with the federalist movement for a while. You see, Chris, I be Mami. Now, you have a group of Pikin the way they don't hold grass. And they refuse to recognize, say for family, not be only independentists and separatists they exist. You get with brother and sister, the day for CPDM, the day for government, when a fact. You get with brother and sister, the way they be federalists, where they want to stay within the union in a federalist way, where they no one independent. Now you get a group of pardon.
Hold on, Marilyn. Hold on. We don't. Dennis, hold on. Dennis, hold on there, please. Dennis, hold on there. Marilyn, we are not disagreeing with you. We agree with you, and that is why Dennis is asking the question: if a conference should be critical at this moment, that conference should be to bring everybody to see how the conflict is brought to an end. Not about who believes in what and who does what.
Chris, it's on the agenda. There are 7 commissions that we have set up for this purpose. There's a commission on dialogue, peace building, and conflict resolution. Can we just respond to the question you posed, and we'll let you talk? So if you ask questions, give us a chance to respond, right? So we can have a civil engagement, so that our people can be informed. Yeah. You say that if there's a meeting, it has to be about conflict resolution, and we are telling you that. You said that if there's a meeting, it has to be about the conflict resolution. And we are telling you that it is one of seven. It's one of 7 commissions. Comrade Ben Aki's just a minute. It's one of 7 commissions. Professor Aki's concerned about the political situation in Cameroon, saying that it has to be a focus, it has to be the elephant in the room. We are saying there is a commission on political organization and mobilization that has to deal with the question of resolving the political situation in Cameroon. We are creating a platform for us to have an inclusive dialogue. Now, Professor Aki has been so taken up by the advancement of the electoral impasse in Cameroon, which is a worthwhile initiative. That's a national agenda from north to south to east to west. The Southern Cameroons has an interest in that conversation. That is why Project C, one of our partner organizations, is organizing a conference on constitutional revision. We need to realize that there are a combination of different efforts that are ongoing, that we need to find synergies. Hence, we've set up a series of different commissions that seek to capture the concerns that you are raising. So, Comrade Atemkeng, in that commission on dialogue and resolution of the current conflict, we were going to have a comprehensive engagement on how we resolve the ongoing conflicts. Professor Aki, in the Commission on Political Organization Mobilization, will have a comprehensive conversation on how to resolve the Isha Chiroma question and how do Anglophones work together with the Chiroma faction to protect Anglophone interests.
All right.
All of us sitting on this platform.
We'll get your continue to make your point.
All of us sitting on this platform.
I've not yet said my point.
Prof, hold on. Let Dennis come back in and make a point.
The message is, Comrade Chris, in 10 seconds I wrap up. The message for all of us sitting on this platform is that Cameroon is going through a serious transition, and as Anglophones, we need to meet and decide and discuss what is in our best interest. That's a simple message about this engagement.
Let Dennis come in there.
Chris, I don't want the matter to be framed as conflict resolution. No, we had proposed that the best way to take into account the interests of the three main factions in the Southern Cameroon, that is the independentists, the federalists, and the unionists, is a referendum for the people of the Southern Cameroon, so that each of these groups has the freedom to express itself. If you are able to go, and if you're a federalist and you're able to go and convince our people that it is better to go and live in slavery in La Republic du Cameroon, go and do so. And if you win, fine. If you're a unionist and you say it is better to become part of La Republic du Cameroon, go and convince our people. If you are an independentist and you are able to tell our people that it is better for you to be free, and believe like free people, you will convince your people. So we have taken care of that.
I agree with you. When do you plan to organize a referendum?
No.
Comrade Atemken, I totally agree with that proposition. When do you plan to organize the referendum is my question to you.
And mobilize its own support. We want to hold the enemy to accept the principle of a referendum. Yes.
We are in total agreement on that proposal. Follow-up question. When do you plan to organize the referendum? So we agree with you. We don't disagree with that.
No, the principles of a referendum. Look, my brother, listen, please. We are talking as if we don't know history. Let me tell you, Norway was ruled for more than 400 years.
I don't want to know about Norway. I'm not interested in Norway. No.
I think that 10 years is a long time. No, 10 years.
Marilyn, hold on. Let Dennis land and then you come in.
No, Dennis has been talking since and took away my time. I don't want to listen to him. I don't care about Norway. I care about
Marilyn, please hold on. Remember, I gave you guys a lot of time to talk before I brought them in. So let him make a point, then you come back.
You know, so my sister was talking as if 8 years of war is such a long term. We are suffering. The enemy has not budged one single inch since we started putting conditions down. Why are we humiliating ourselves by coming back and begging to join an enemy who is crushing us and refusing us the simplest right? It was not even unfortunate that AAC I should be talking about a federation. What was the basis of that federation when the federal constitution was a domestic law of La République du Cameroon? So really, we are creating an absurdity for ourselves, confusing ourselves, going up, going down, coming to crawl on our knees and go and beg to be integrated in a foreign country. If you ask our people today, they will prefer to live under Britain than to live under La République du Cameroon. Both of whom are foreign countries to us. So really, I don't want us to get into this. The subtleties will not help us, my brothers. It will not help us. You are just trying to confuse people. No, these subtleties will
All right,
not help
let
us.
Marilyn
Unfortunately,
come in there
late.
and make the point she wants to make.
Chris, I want to say that this conference takes nothing from what everybody else is doing. So we need to, this conference is about the collective. We take into account that our people are divided, as we all know. So if the brother with the hat wants to organize a constitutional reform, please go ahead. We are waiting for you to go ahead and organize that reform. For us, we are continuing with the legacy of our forefathers. We in the force of argument and not the argument of force, we have a legacy. We have a culture that we inherited. That is what we are continuing with. We are acknowledging the effort of our forefathers and we are continuing. It does not prevent you from going with your constitutional convent. That it doesn't prevent us. So please go ahead and do it. But do not come and
The referendum.
To prevent us from doing what we want to do for ourselves, where we see value. Again, like I said earlier, this is the coalition of the willing. If you don't see any value for it, please stay. You know, for you to not acknowledge the unionists and the federalists, and also only think that as a people we should only go with a separatist agenda, is preposterous.
Marilyn, I think going with a separatist...
Chris, this effort is an effort pushing the collect. Abi mami, and this and my brother, and I want to remind him that the majority of the people of former British Cameroon, at least 70% are under the age of 30. I don't want to be rude or disrespect, but you don't owe. Because you talk, say, 8 years of war is nothing. And I looked at you, I said, are you kidding me? 8 years of war is nothing?
Not for people who want freedom.
We are working for the youth, our youth, our children. Yes.
Not for people who want freedom.
When you were young, you should have gone
not
to
for
fight
people who want freedom.
Nothing. I'm not going to sit down here as mommy, and some man can talk, say 8 years of war is nothing. And
Marilyn, if I may ask you, what do you mean? What do you mean by sitting there as mommy? What do you mean? There is some lighting on your face there.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes.
I think there's a window.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
Centralize your
image.
image.
What I mean is that 8 years of war is 8 years too much. Our people have suffered enough.
Then we'll go back to the question that Dennis raised. Hold on, Marilyn. You don't want to talk too fast and miss the point. If 8 years of war or 10 years are too long, why not listen to what Dennis is asking you? Why don't we think about, first of all, ending the war so that the 33% you mentioned who are youths maybe can find jobs, can go to school, can engage in whatever social, economic, political activities they may want to engage in. Is it a wrong idea to say, let's end the war first and then we come together and figure out how we move on?
Yeah, this is what we.
But that's what the Committee on Dialogue and Conflict Resolution is doing.
This is what we're going to discuss at
how
the
to
conference.
end the war.
How to end the war is on the agenda.
Yeah.
At the
on
conference
the agenda.
that my brothers don't want us to have.
Unless you're not interested in ending the war, Comrade Chris.
So the question becomes, how do you want to do this? How do you want to end? How would you suggest the war be ended?
Exactly why the commission was created, so that Peter Atemken and yourself and everybody else that is interested in ending the war comes and gives us their plan to end the war.
Their idea, their brilliant ideas.
Dennis, is that what you are thinking about? Dennis? Oh, I think he is frozen on the screen there. I guess he is disconnected.
Yeah, Chris, I wanted to add that some of the names that have come up for the conference is the Foncha Endeli Legacy Conference. Another name that somebody has proposed is the Heritage Conference. So if you have any names, or you or your people, feel free to send names.
I suggested the All Southern Cameroons Conference in my talking point. I'm not imposing. I'm not imposing it. I'm just. It's just a suggestion. But again, I think I'm afraid any something called All Anglophone Conference may just be taking us back, certainly back into the hands of La République du Cameroon.
I agree. And
Chris, the difficulty, Marine, let me just answer that. Chris, the difficulty has been getting a name that is going to get the government of Cameroon to allow us to have a meeting, especially that caters for a domestic constituency. Okay? For those who may not understand, the background around the appellation All Anglophone Conference, there was a commission that was set up as after the national conference that was called up in 1992, that was going to go back and consult Anglophones to make their proposals towards the revision of the federal constitution. The Munzu Anyangwe, there are about 4 of them from Southern Cameroon's extraction that we received an official mandate to go and convene and have a conversation with people from the Northwest and the Southwest to make proposals towards the Constitutional Conference in Yaoundé. We need to come to terms with the fact that whatever it is that we seek to attain as an outcome has to be ventilated and validated with the cooperation and participation of the government of Cameroon. We do not want to have a conference for the sake of a conference. They are a party to the engagement. Those are the kinds of sensitivities that we are trying to manage. Maybe unlike some of the other people listening to us, we are actually concerned about
I heard him laughing in the background to a point you made. Prof. Aki, come in, please.
I think for us to, we are dealing with dissipation of political power and distraction. For us to get out of that, we have to think clearly. And we have to see where there are some intersections. I think the federalist position that I speak from, it aligns, but it is totally different from what the independentists want. This is what I think the solution is. It is not that we come together and have a conference and where ending the war is an item somewhere and then political transition is an item somewhere. No, that's not what is going to happen. What is going to happen is that you will have a legitimate president of Cameroon who will invite our brothers and sisters who don't want to be Cameroonians again, who have an independentist agenda. We will use the Boston principles to kind of say, okay, while we are talking, let us respect this principle. Let's put down the arms. Let us not engage in provocation one way or the other. Let us sit down and talk. We federalists will not be in the room. We don't want to be in the room and disturb the conversation, initial conversation. I don't want you to blame us. The independentists, they will sit down because they have a grievance up to the point of saying we are no longer part of Cameroon. They will sit down. Our attempt is to make sure we have a legitimate president. We want to make sure that president understands that this country is a federation, and to solve this problem, we have to be working towards a genuine federation. Our president will bring that to the table and offer it to you. And that president will tell you, I hear you, you want to have a referendum on separation. Unfortunately, I, as the president of Cameroon, I don't have the constitutional power to call for a referendum to divide Cameroon in any way. It is not within that context. And then whatever argument the independentists are going to have, the president is going to say, here is my offer. I offer federalism. I want you to go back and talk with everybody.
Prof. Aki, let me ask you, if your president of La République du Cameroon doesn't have the powers to call a referendum, why should he have the power to give Southern Cameroonians a federation?
Well, it's a correction of a constitutional violation because Cameroon is a federation, and the manner in which the federation was ended in 1972 was a constitutional violation. It was also accompanied by an electoral fraud. It was also accompanied by repression. People were not allowed even to go out and campaign against ending the federation. And in fact, there are people who either testify that they went to vote and they asked for the ballot to say that
we know all of that. Given your the scenario,
so the point is that the president of Cameroon,
hold on there. Given the scenario you are painting there, who in Cameroon should call for a referendum then?
Not a referendum on separation. Not a referendum on separation.
Who will call for any referendum in Cameroon? Who has the powers?
The president.
How about the people?
Well, the people can always pressurize the authorities that be to bring about that. If you bring the people to the street for 2 months and you're asking that we want a referendum this way or that way, then the question will be taken up.
And what if a constituent assembly of the Southern Cameroons, in the words of Prof. Gabila, comes up and say, for us to have anything to do with La République du Cameroon, we need a referendum on the form of state.
On the form of state, but not on separation. The form of state, yes.
State can mean anything, right?
Comrade Chris, can I come in there?
No. Every country seeks to work towards a perfect union. The raison d'être of a country is to advance towards a perfect union. Now, there are some differences in the political histories that the Anglo-Protestant structure is more accommodating, so that Scotland can have a referendum, so that Alberta can have a question. But in Canada, even if that result is positive, many constraints will have to be obeyed before that allowed. But Franco-Catholic will never imagine a country in which people have the right to just wake up and break away. Never.
Well, I think
but let me finish the point. Let me finish, Chris. But if you can prosecute a successful war of independence, good luck and thank you. You're going away with that. I have always acknowledged.
Yes, I think there's a question you've been asking Prof. Aki, which is not addressing, which I would like to take an opportunity to address because he sort of brought it up, right? When we came up with AAC III RTC, he came up with these reasons why he's against, and we're in touch. We've been working for a very long time. He sent it to me. I had an exchange with him. Now, the premise of his argument is that we are supposed to fight to restore the constitutional order, stolen electoral victory of Issa Chiroma, as the legitimate president of Cameroon from the ballots of 2025, and then sort of have an engagement with him as the restoration of constitutional order for the rest of Cameroon. That is the fight, and that is a legitimate fight. Now, that is a fight which has its place. That's why I did not respond to him to say that I disagree with you. Now, it's making a series of assumptions that says that that fight is in itself the solution that is going to solve the problems of Cameroon. And I only had two responses to that. To his response to being against AAC III, to say that even if the end of that process which he pursues is the determination of the installation of the president-elect Issa Chiroma, Anglophones, Southern Cameroonians, former British Southern Cameroonians will still need to mobilize as a bloc to engage with the power that has emerged in Yaoundé as the legitimate president. Hence the need for this consultation to resolve our internal differences and speak with one voice, so we are prepared to engage in Yaoundé. I wanted to put that on the table, as a gesture of goodwill. On another day, putting on another hat, I would tell him that everybody who is pursuing the restoration of constitutional order with an Issa Chiroma president is delusional, because that train has left the station. It's not going to come back to where they expect it to be. But as a fighter that recognizes the effort of someone like Professor Ben Aki, I will not go out in the public domain to engage him on that. Because the people that he is working with, that we have worked with, Comrade Chris, I can tell you, they don't have 1/10 of the bite of the Ambazonian movement. 1/10 of the bite. So whatever it is that they're doing, prosecution of taking people to ICC and taking people to French courts and trying to say that electoral victory was stolen and all of that, it's all part of our collective fight. But as disciplined members of the well-being of our people, we have chosen to be focused on the interest of British Southern Cameroons to say that let us have a document that is ready to engage with whoever emerges as the power in Yaoundé. If it's in Ngongo, if it is Vrangbiya, if it's Isha Chiroma, whoever it is, as Southern Cameroonians, as part of that political space, we need to be able to be a force to reckon with. And so we must get our house in order. That is the point. That's the point from where we are coming on. And I want to just close on that and tell Prof. Aki to say that
for sure that there is no consensus among all of us, including you and I here. Let me finish. And so to think that we can all, in the advent of the upcoming transition in or succession in La République du Cameroon, gather together and put our points, a piece of white paper together and take to Yaoundé. That is not going to happen. And you also know that you can hold 10 or 20 conferences. If independentists say, we don't buy it, you cannot call out those boys in the bushes to leave the bushes with their arms. And so La République may just have reached an agreement with you for nothing. So the question comes back to what Dennis Atem raised. Why don't we sit down and figure out how we can fight La République du Cameroon to the logical end and gain our autonomy?
Are you able to call out the boys from the bushes? I challenge you, Chris Anu.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not. The boys from the bush don't listen to anybody. They don't listen.
No. You got that wrong because you've never been part of them. So they won't listen to you because
let me answer the question you asked, Chris. Let me answer the question you asked. It will be a mistake to approach whoever we're negotiating with in dispersed ranks. It will be an absolute mistake.
Yeah, but then
to approach them in this.
How does a unionist? I attended your meeting almost 2 weeks ago. I heard people like MKPD who wanted to be on this show but doesn't want to even appear on camera in that meeting. I heard Paddy Asanga ranting in there. You have a class of people that no independentists would want to sit down with in your ranks. How do you think they agree?
Chris, let me answer you that question.
Okay.
Chris, we have history to look at. When our forefathers went to Fumban, they went to Fumban, only Foncha had seen the draft constitution. They continued with that spirit of division. They didn't sit together as a family with one accord and go to Fumban. When we went to the national dialogue, again, divided. I met a lot of people for the first time at the national dialogue. We did not sit together and meet and decide, knowing what we are going to say in the national dialogue, and we came back with a special status. So this generation of our leaders, we are trying to not make the same mistake that our forefathers made. We are trying to work together. We do agree. We acknowledge that we have different political ideologies, different political views. We are not coming into this meeting. A federalist is not trying to convince a separatist. A separatist is not trying to convince a unionist. We are coming into the meeting cognizant of our differences, but knowing that we are all children of the same father, that what unites us is greater than what separates us. And we are coming trying to find one or two or three things that we agree on, and then we take that.
Listen, Madeline, I hear you, but that is a recipe for failure. I would rather put it this way. Why not say to unionists, hey, you can meet, agree on your position on how to pursue a new government in Yaoundé in the post-era of Biya. Federalists, why not come together, agree on your position on what form of state you want to see in Cameroon in the event of another grand national dialogue. You know what independentists believe in. We're not waiting to go and submit some memorandum to Yaoundé to say this is what we want. They know what we want. But you unionists and federalists, you are divided in your ranks. So I would rather think that something that works in a separate manner. Unionists, get your memorandum. Federalists, get your memorandum. Independentists, if we don't get independent, maybe we'll get your federalist position or your unionist position. I think this is the way you look at this situation. Bernard, nodded your head.
No, Chris. No, Chris, because we are not unionists, we are not federalists, we are not independentists, we are Southern Cameroonians. Yeah?
You don't agree.
This jacket
You
that we
are
have. No, don't shake your head.
Some of you, if you are Southern Cameroonians,
you see,
you believe
all of these
in
appellations and all of these tags and all of these jackets that you have boxed us into, they come secondarily. Primarily, we are all children of the same mother that share the same identity.
But the fact is
in
that
the
those
same
children
geography.
of the same mother will
We come
not
from a common history.
agree on the common position.
We come from a common past. We share a common geography and we have a common future.
We know that, Prof. We know that, but you agree with me also that those children of the same mother would not agree on the same position politically.
So,
and we are
Chris,
saying let us meet and find the things that we agree on.
Let me put it this way. Let me explain to you the position I'm trying to articulate here, Prof. If you have unionists put their memorandum on the table, you have federalists put their memorandum on the table, and you have independentists say this is what we want. How about we go to the same people of the Southern Cameroons from the same mother and say, choose between these positions what you want. And then maybe at that moment, then maybe at that moment we can take that vote to La République du Cameroon and say, this is what our people want.
Thank you very much, Chris. You have just described the conference that we are convening.
No, hold on.
Chris,
how
what
are
you
we
just
going
said,
to
your last
vote?
statement is a description of the conference that we are convening. That says, each of you come up with your positions, let us put it together, present it to our people, and let the people make a decision. Hence the need for us to come together and have the conversation.
All right.
What you have just described in your last statement is the conference that we are calling.
All right. Okay, you guys please
but
hold
I
on
want
in
to
there.
make it clear. I want to make it clear as somebody from the Southwest. Because the Southwest to the Northwest, the Constitution is 3:1 or 4:1. We all agree, if we are honest on this panel, we all agree that the people from the Northwest are more than the people from the Southwest. So I just want to make it clear because I speak for my constituents.
But that doesn't mean anything, Marilyn, because the same pain. That doesn't mean anything. Hold on. That doesn't mean anything because it doesn't mean
anything. The people from
anything.
the Southwest have a right to self-determination.
Everybody has a right to self-determination.
We are not going to enter a suicidal political union where we are going to be outnumbered by a vote which is 1-on-1 and be outnumbered by the people from the Northwest. I want to make that clear for all. We are not stupid. We will not enter a political union with anybody where we are going to be outnumbered. So if anybody is trying to say
Gabila, did you hear that?
If you're trying to say nonsense, just forget it.
And Prof. Ayuk, did you hear that? She doesn't want union with you from the Northern Zone.
Right. So, Chris, here's the thing, right?
That's not what I said. That is not what I said. Let me make my points clear because people are very wicked and they're going to take my points and misconstrue it. If you can come up with a formula, like an electoral college where the people from the Southwest are coming into an equal union with the people from the Northwest, that would be acceptable. But me as a community leader, I refuse to sign off on a process where you come into a union, a political union, one person, one vote, because in West Cameroon was not a panacea. I've read the books, I've read the documents. The people from the Southwest were a second-class citizen. They were marginalized by the people from the Northwest. And we are not, this generation of people from the Southwest, we are not going to take that. So just
you're already taking that from La République anyway. I'm from the Southwest
it's not
too,
from La
but I must
République.
tell
I'm
you,
not taking it
you
from La
are already
République.
taking that from La République du Cameroon.
Okay, you are entitled to your opinion,
but
and I'm
hold on
entitled
there,
to mine.
exactly as you do. Guys, please hold on there for a second. We're going to take a brief break. Lots of people are trying to call in here. When we come back, I will open the phone lines for about 10 minutes before we call it a night. for those people to make their points. Take put, please.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
Our next session begins July 24th. Seating is limited.
To enroll, text AI to 346-271-0711 or visit certifiedaiacademy.com.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before.
Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear in my background an alarm has been turned on in the building, and I cannot continue the broadcast. We need to get out of here. Sorry about that, but I have no control over it. You can hear the alarm in my background. So I want to thank my team, Prof. Gabila, Marilyn, and Prof. Aki. Thank you for joining the show. Unfortunately, I cannot continue with the alarm going on. You have a great night. We will come back to this subject, but I think we had a spirited debate.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for
Bye,
the
everyone.
invitation.
Thank you. All right. Good night, please.